Okay, so today one of our most common questions that we get asked is people who buy new Zero Lines cards or have existing Zero Lines cards, and they have used their fish finders, they've mapped out a lot of lakes with their AutoChart Live. The big question is, how do I save this data? How do I keep a record of it in case my card fails? The other question is I have a buddy with a lot of Zero Lines data. How can I share that data with them? Or how can I get their data onto my card? So today we're going to go through two things. We have a customer who had an existing Zero Lines card, bought a second Helix unit, wants to put in another Zero Lines card into that second unit, but wants all the data from the first card onto the new card. So we'll show you how to, one, make a file so that you can keep a backup, and then second, we'll show you how to transfer that file onto the new Zero Lines cards. So we're going to start out by taking our Zero Lines card. We're going to put it into our computer. Okay, the Zero Lines card has populated automatically in here. So we're going to look through, we've got a few different folders inside of this card. The LakeMaster folder is all the mapping information that is built into the card, so we're not going to play with that. The one that we want to open is the AC data file. So this is going to have all our .acu files, which is all of the little depth recordings that have been performed by the AutoChart Live on the existing machine. So these all stitch together, and they're what gives you the map data and the contour lines on your Zero Lines card, which of course comes just with lake outlines, and then you use the AutoChart function inside your Helix or Solix unit in order to fill in those blank lakes with your own lake data. So first of all, what we're going to go do is go back to the first part of the card here. Now, since we haven't taken a backup of this card, we're simply just going to left click and hold. We're going to drag that over to our desktop, and we're going to copy that straight onto our desktop. So it's going to take a minute or two, and that is now going to show up on our desktop here. So when we open this up, we can see all of those .acu files are on our desktop. We can't open these files up and look at them on our computer, but what we're going to do is put in the brand new Zero Lines card, and then we're going to show how we can put this AC data file onto the new card. And another thing is, if you want to update your AC data file that's saved on your desktop because you recorded a bunch of new lake data, we'll go through the same process. What you would do is go ahead, plug your Zero Lines card in just like we did originally. We would go into that data file. Instead of just dragging and dropping the whole file onto the computer, what we can do is go through, select all of the files, and just simply click with our left button on our mouse, drag all these files and put them into the AC data file that's on our computer. Now, when we do this, because we have similar files that we have already dragged and dropped into this folder from previous data, we have the option of just skipping the files that are the same, or we can replace the files in the destination. We can go ahead and skip the files that are the same, and then all the new files from the data that we got from our existing card, we can then just drag and drop and skip all the files that are the same, and all the new files from the new lake data will then be in our AC data file on our computer. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and eject this card, And we are going to insert the brand new Zero Lines card. Try and take this out of the package. And we are going to put that into the computer and let that boot up. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice when the brand new LakeMaster Zero Lines card is inserted, there is no AC data file. Reason being is it's a brand new card and we have absolutely no data on this card yet. So to add the data that we have, because it needs to go into the AC data file, we're simply going to just drag and drop this whole AC data folder onto the card. So it'll take a minute or two. Perfect. So now we have the AC data file loaded up onto this brand new card. So we're ready to go. Now, let's say we have a friend and they've got some data of a different lake that we would like to get and we want to combine our information. We'd go through that same process that we did in step 1, plug the card in, copy all those files, paste them, drag them into the AC data file that we have on our computer desktop. Now, if we want to take those combined files, again, and update an existing card or one of our own cards from a friend's, we would simply open up the existing AC data file, highlight all of the files inside of there, and just simply drag and drop them into the AC data file on our existing card. Same prompt is going to come up. We can either replace the files in the destination or we can just simply skip these files. So it'll go through, it will skip all the files that we already have on the card, and it will add all the brand new files that we don't. So that's how we can keep all of our cards updated, and that is also how we can share data with friends from different lakes, or if they have additional lake coverage that you maybe do not have. So that is the simple way of how to update our Zero Lines cards and share those data files with each other. So what we're going to do here is we have 2 Helix 7 units. The customer has GPS waypoints on the Helix unit that he mounts on the dash of his boat. So he wants those GPS waypoints transferred over to his other fish finder, which he has mounted on the front of the boat. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a micro SD card. Again, you need to remember with any Helix updates or any kind of data transfer, the best one to use for a Helix is 32 gigabytes or less. Some of the bigger cards will not work in these units. I'm going to go ahead and pop off the side, and we are going to insert that card into the machine. Now we're going to go ahead and go into our menu. Again, we hit that twice. We're going to arrow over to the navigation tab, and then we're going to arrow down to waypoints, routes, and tracks. So now we see there's a whole bunch of waypoints in here. So we are going to go to our options tab, just simply using the arrows. We're going to go over. We're going to the tab select all and export. So we are going to save the tracks and waypoints and routes to the SD card that is inserted into the machine. And it's a fresh card, so we have no existing tracks on it currently. And we're just going to hit yes. So now all this data has been successfully exported onto the SD card. So we're going to go ahead, pop that SD card out of this machine. We're going to go over to our second Helix 7 unit, and we're going to insert the micro SD again. We are going to hit our menu button. So we got the automatic prompt here to upload the nav data from the SD card. So we're simply going to just hit yes, and now it's loaded all of that nav data onto this machine. So if we go, so it loaded 11 tracks and 23 waypoints. So now when we go menu, we arrow over into nav, We arrow down into waypoints, routes, and tracks. You can see that all of these tracks and waypoints have been successfully exported from the machine that we had on the dash to the machine we have on the front. So now we can go ahead, pop the SD card out, and then we can go ahead and put our LakeMaster map cards back in, and those waypoints, of course, would populate on our LakeMaster maps. So that's the simple way to export and import your nav data. If you want to, you can do the same sort of process that we did with the LakeMaster card. When we transferred the waypoint data, we can plug this into our computer and we can save all this information onto our desktop so that we again have a backup in case we go to a bigger unit, a different unit, or a newer unit. We always save all of our GPS waypoints. So that protects us and our data. So that's the simple way of exporting and importing waypoints from one machine to another, as well as creating yourself a backup. It's a wrap.